My guest in the podcastle is LuBare, but that's not your real name. That is your burlesque name.
Indeed.
Who are you really?
I'm Robin Lubert, a.k.a. Luna LuBare is my persona on stage. Robin Lubert is actually a violinist.
You do so many things. It's amazing. I get to MC a number of shows for Robin, and you've been putting on burlesque and cabaret shows now for a while.
We're on to our third show. Yeah. We went from a sold-out show at Savoy to a very well-attended show at in Merrickville, United Arts Center.
That was an amazing venue.
It was, and it was very interactive because the audience and the personalities that were on stage just got along so well with each other. I've never seen anything like it. It was so interactive. It was fantastic.
And it's unusual, too. I mean, a lot of times you'll do these burlesque and cabaret shows, and the Savoy is a great spot, but it's a typical restaurant. It's designed to be a restaurant. So it's unusual in the case of Merrickville to have this massive stage in a church and the sound system and the deep rows of seats, and that was quite something.
I think it's important to bring live entertainment to many different type of spaces. First of all, as a performer, it broadens your ability to react differently and to hone your skills a little bit better. So for restaurants, which are a little smaller venue, you create a more personable because you're closer to the audience. You're not as far away. In a theater, you have a stage and there's a little bit of distance between you and the audience. So, but I think they're all good. And the issue is, I don't think it's an issue. The beauty of bringing live entertainment to different spaces is what, creates, it's a win-win situation for the venues and for the performers.
Plus, for the audience, it's something they don't get to see every day.
They do not. And what I'm trying to do is to bring, first of all, to bring a lot of local talent that have been, I think, rather underserved in many ways, but also to create an audience, to build an audience. My shows tend to be geared for mature audiences, and by that I mean you can be any age, but I want certainly mature people to feel comfortable in the venue, to be able to have a meal, to be able to not have to go downstairs to use the the restrooms and to be in very nice comfortable spaces.
Sure.
Because I think in some ways the burlesque community, although it's pretty active in Ottawa, has basically been targeting a certain type of vibe, a certain type of audience, which is fine. Yep. But I think for mature audiences, we have to curate these things a little bit differently. And I think that partnering with Merrickville or Savoy Brasserie, especially with Jack, has been an incredible opportunity to do that.
They've been very upscale events.
And they're upscaling again.
Nice. Okay.
They're bringing in a whole new management team, a new chef.
At the Savoy.
A new restaurant manager. And I think Jack is trying to create something a little bit, more conducive to what's actually happening in Westboro and what he has to also compete with.
Yeah. So May 2nd is the next event, and it's at the Savoy, which is right at the corner of Richmond and Churchill. Everybody knows that's where Moe's used to be.
Yes.
And that's where the Savoy is now. So it could not be more convenient.
Beautiful spot.
And you're selling fewer tickets this time around because you want to increase everybody's ability to see this show.
Yes, I think what Jack had figured out that it was a little bit of a challenge for service, and so with a little bit fewer guests, they will have better service, a better experience. Anytime you do something new, it's a learning curve, and I think while the first show was sold out, I think there were things that could have gone better. But at the end of the day, a good time was had by all. And the only way you can make things better is to keep on doing it and honing your skills. It's like being an artist, like being a performer.
And we should mention, too, that you yourself very proudly get out there and you do perform burlesque.
I do.
And you're very proud of the fact that you can be sexy at any age. And you prove that. I've seen you do it well, I'm about to see you do it for a third time. I've seen you do it twice. You put on a great performance as Luna LuBare.
And I'm 64 years old now. I had a great opportunity to be at Burlesque Hall of Fame.
She does not look 64. Come on.
I had an amazing opportunity to meet legends at Behoff this past year.
What's Behoff?
Burlesque Hall of Fame.
Okay,
and there's
cool.
a weekender that happens at the end of June. Last year was the end of May, beginning of June. This year, I think it's at the beginning of June. I don't think I'm going this year. But who knows? I might in the last minute decide if there's room.
But just for the audience who's
but I got a chance to meet legends now. As a matter of fact, where I play in the orchestra in Allentown, Pennsylvania, Allentown Symphony. The hall that we play in, now called Miller Symphony Hall, was once a burlesque hall called the Lyric Theater. And I was so fortunate to actually have met several burlesque performers who actually performed on our stage back in the 60s.
Wow.
So I'm trying to bring stuff there.
Yep.
Running into a little bit of, pushback. But I think ultimately in the end, if you could prove that you can sell out a show, then I think that the proof is in the pudding. So.
Do you run into, because of course, like Ottawa, for example, I know that they're very stingy with how they license venues.
Right.
Do you ever run into a situation where a city or an authority within a city says, hey, wait a minute, burlesque, that's striptease. You can't do that.
We don't in Ottawa because burlesque does not fall under a licensing situation.
That's my question, because burlesque, for those who do not know, there is no nudity on burlesque.
No.
It's close.
Yes, but not the same as if you were a strip club, for example, where there is total nudity. That they have to have a special license for that. Burlesque performers, obviously, not all my show is burlesque anyway, but burlesque as an art, an art mode, I suppose, is not under the scrutiny that other things are.
And that's where I was going with that question. Was I wanted to define for the audience that, you're not going to a strip show that night. If that's what your perception of burlesque is, it's not. In fact, I will say I would rather watch a burlesque show. I think it's infinitely more sensual and sexual.
I think what I would like...
Hey, here I am.
What I would like people to sort of envision in their minds, if you think of a Las Vegas show with the feathers and the Swarovski crystals and that sort of pomp and
the costumes are amazing.
Aria's costume that she did her act in my first show. Yeah. That is a $6,000 costume.
I mean, it was peacock feather looking. It was grandiose and beautiful. And
yes.
Yeah, and I assisted one of your performers out of the building with just their makeup kit.
Right.
That unto itself. I mean, and I'm a guy who's lugging in PA equipment and lighting, and the makeup kit was the heaviest thing I lifted all bloody night.
That's Haley. Yeah. Mistress May, yes, that was her makeup kit.
So, I mean, there's a lot that goes into these shows. And I love the Savoy for these shows. And again, May 2nd, people can get on Facebook to buy tickets.
Well, Eventbrite. We're selling them through Eventbrite.
Great. So
yes.
What do they search for when they go to eventbrite.ca?
Well, you can go on the Savoy's Facebook page, and then from that, you can link right up to the Eventbrite and then get your tickets.
Now, you and I...
We're almost half sold, by the way, and since we're selling less tickets than the last time, people should be getting in very quickly.
You're notoriously a walk-up city. Don't miss this. It's such a, it's a small, intimate, beautiful night. You're really going to enjoy yourself. You and I had a conversation the other day about how we both agree Ottawa has a real identity crisis. Why are we so afraid in Ottawa to admit that we're kind of sexy? Sexy is okay.
Well, I think that, people have different personas here in Ottawa. I think because it's a government town, I think people have to project a certain image. I think, but the government has reduced its footprint in Ottawa, and the population is actually growing.
Yeah.
So
who are these people? Where are they working? What
I don't know, but
it's not. I mean, it used to be like the high tech sector. Was very young and affluent, and it was bringing a lot of new life. Like you said, I'm curious. What's all the enterprise that's drawing these people here? And
well, I don't know what's drawing people here. I think high tech is somewhat coming back. Yeah. I think that they're entrepreneurship is becoming very big because you can't rely on employment from outsiders.
That's what I'm doing. Yeah.
And it's becoming a gig economy in some ways. And I think
I like that gig economy.
I think that's going on across the board. I don't think that Ottawa is particularly unique in that. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I think people still thrive on live entertainment. And we have a lot of very incredibly talented people who are from Ottawa or the Ottawa area. Like Jennifer Peterson, for example, who is our singer-songwriter.
Oh my gosh, I was so excited to meet her. So if you listen to blogspinradio.com, I've been playing Jennifer's songs ever since I saw her perform. And I mean, one minute she's doing something completely operatic.
Yes.
And then you download her album and
it's heartfelt. I mean, it's
pop and it's rock and
it's everything, and some of it are ballads and some of them are really poignant. But Jennifer is as beautiful on the inside as she is on the outside.
Yeah, I really enjoy getting to talk to her.
And she is a local artist, and so for me as a producer of a show, I need to balance the and promote the wonderful talent and skill set that we have here in Ottawa.
And that's exactly what you did. So for me, as an independent broadcast operator, and I'm not required to play Canadian content, but of course I spent almost 30 years in conventional radio. And and one of the things that frustrated me was conventional radio is not looking for local talent. They're looking for the next record label rep to buy them, the big steak lobster dinner and the right bottle of wine.
Right.
And we'll add, your artist record and we'll play it across the country on all our stations. I would not have discovered someone like Jennifer Peterson had it not been for being able to be at that event that night. And this is, I would say this to any broadcast program director across the country. Jennifer Peterson's music can hold a candle to anything you're playing out there. It is fantastic. In fact, when I play it, I always get comments from listeners saying, "What is that? Who is that? I love it. Oh, that's a local artist. You're kidding me. Fantastic." So that's the kind of thing that's happening even in these small venues like the Savoy.
And as somebody who sees somebody like Jennifer at this stage of her career, that is going to change.
Jennifer, who, by the way, proudly announced, and I was the MC for the show, she's a grandmother. She wanted that in there. She, at that stage of her career.
And pretty soon she's going to be busy. And hopefully, by having her at our shows, somebody will see her.
I hope so.
And her career will grow.
Oh.
And
blew me away how great she is.
And we'd be so thrilled for that to happen. And there's but Ottawa does have a lot of talent. Look at the talent that has been literally spawned off to the States.
Yep.
I mean, look how many artists, actors came from Ottawa.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not it's not news.
Ottawa is so reluctant to celebrate that.
Yeah.
Though. Like, you look at the success of an Alanis Morissette, and it's phenomenal.
Right.
And what a story.
Sandra Oh, another one.
Sandra Oh, who I went to high school with.
Right.
It's an unbelievable story. But then you'll always, inevitably, in any crowd in Ottawa, you'll find those people, oh, yeah, but I remember this one time when, come on.
It's
celebrate this.
This is the thing. I think that, I don't know, I get the feeling that in Ottawa there's a lot of unhappiness.
Yeah.
And
Maybe their
first reaction is to criticize, because I don't know whether being critical makes you feel better. I can't imagine it making anyone feel better. Maybe it might be momentary, but you know,
isn't that what we're seeing in social media now?
We are.
People are so, it's so easy to lash out and to complain and to bitch. And I say this constantly to my audience. You know, we go to a restaurant, for example. We go to a movie. We go to whatever we choose to do, right. You know, a sporting event. If it doesn't live up to our expectations, we get onto Facebook, we get onto all of these review sites, and we slam these places. Do we take that same time when we go someplace and they exceed our expectations? Do we take that same time to say, wow, this place really impressed me? Imagine if we all took the time to do that.
Well, this is the thing.
But we find it so easy to just bitch and moan.
I think it becomes habitual after a while.
Habitual?
Habitual,
like
yes.
Putting the bitch in habitual.
Exactly.
Like that, good job.
You know? But I find that really very, very sad. And look, I know our first show was very, very busy. They didn't have enough staff to do the service. They oversold it, I think, a little bit. We sold out. I mean, it was absolutely jam-packed.
It was a good night.
It was a great night.
Yeah.
But, there's always somebody in the crowd who's going to say something. So
you know what I'm hearing you say? Is that the Savoy has recognized that they didn't live up to their own expectations.
I think it was also a learning curve, because they never put on a production like what we did. They've always had live entertainment.
But I appreciate that a restaurant is willing to do that.
They did.
I didn't hear a single person in that room say anything negative that night.
No.
So the Savoy has said, no, we can do better.
Yes, we can do better.
That's amazing.
And I think, Jack is very committed to it. I think, my job is to produce the show, yep. and to create the, to create the entertainment part of
yep.
it. The restaurant itself is the venue. They have their part, the kitchen, etc., and the drinks
yep.
and the food and all that. But I think at the end of the day, it's the people who make the evening. The people who come there make the evening. And it's very easy for an audience to make or break the vibe.
And this is something that you taught me, even on day one of working together, was encourage the crowd to get involved. And again...
Exactly.
Ottawa's notorious for this. At a hockey game, at a football game, we tend to sit on our hands and not make a whole lot of noise.
Right.
We're very reluctant to do that in Ottawa. It's okay. Come on out on the second at the
dance
Savoy.
On the table. I mean,
okay.
Yeah. I mean, like
hoot, holler, cheer them on,
exactly.
encourage them. I mean, you do get. I'm telling you, you get a better show when you really start encouraging these performers and letting them know that you're really enjoying yourself.
And the better the audience is involved and can appreciate it and show by screaming and hollering and clapping and whatever and interacting,
yep.
the better performances you are going to get.
Sure.
Because the artist will feed off of that energy, and then it becomes very symbiotic. It's
like
amazing.
Anything. Like I'll have those days on the radio station, and I'm notorious for doing this to myself, and maybe that's part of my depression and my anxiety. Well, not maybe, it's definitely part of that, where I'll be so self-critical, and it's like I'm not getting that input, I'm not getting that feedback,
I'm
not
you
feeling that from the audience, and it's affecting my performance, and it frustrates the hell out of me.
It's like living in a soundproof room.
Well, and I do. But, I mean, think of the work you do and the line of work you're in, and those days where you're not getting any input or feedback from your boss, and it's frustrating, and you just sort of going through the motions. Well, all of a sudden, you're getting, that pat on the back, or, just you're involved in a conversation with what you do. It changes your whole day.
It does.
The performers are exactly the same way. So we invite you out to make some noise, let loose a little bit. But it's not just a burlesque show that you do. It's very much cabaret. So the Merrickville show was really amazing because you had Jennifer Peterson, who was doing singing, playing the piano.
Yes.
You had Poison,
Fire.
who is a fire eater, and with these amazing masks, and it's dark and it's grandiose, and she performs a couple of sets with
and blacklight too. She does a lot in blacklight, so it's very exciting.
Yeah, and she works with an Alice Cooper tribute artist, so he's singing some Alice Cooper stuff, and she's doing her fire eating to that.
Right.
And I forget the other performer's name. He did the mermaid.
Ariel Sin.
Yes.
That was a request.
Oh my gosh.
That was hilarious. And the opera one. He did the 2 acts. He did the mermaid.
Well, the first one, and whatever the song was, I thought it was from like My Little Mermaid or one of those. But all of a sudden, it's like, wait a minute, somebody's re-recorded this, and they put a little adult naughtiness in there, and it was just like pee your pants funny.
Yes.
And he's just got this, and he, dressed as a she, has just got this deadpan face and performance to it. It's so amazing. So what can we look forward to on May 2nd? Who have we got for performers that day?
Okay, so we have, I have a juggler coming in.
Nice.
Brian Wilson. He does comedy, he does juggling, and he does knives and slices vegetables in the air and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Okay.
And he has his own entertainment company, actually, Orbital Talent. But I met him doing a Rogers. I volunteer at Rogers every Tuesday, our daytime show.
Oh, right on.
So I got to, I get to meet all the talent that comes in. And he was there doing the segment, and I gave him my card, and I said, if you're interested in performing at my show.
Sure.
And he emailed me, and that's how we got him.
So that's sounding a little bit almost like Busker Festival, but
yes.
In a VIP setting.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so we've got Brian.
And then I have a drag king coming, Tommy 10-inch.
Tommy 10-inch?
Tommy 10-inch.
I love it. Some of these names are so great.
And Tommy's act has been going very well. They haven't been doing it for a long time, but I was very
10-inch. I see what you did there.
I was very, very lucky to be there when he did his first act at Swizzles. So and it was mind blowing, just mind blowing.
All right.
And
by the way, for those not familiar with drag kings, it's the reverse of drag queens. So that's where you've got a female performer acting as a male.
Right, exactly.
And I love the whole reversal of it.
And for burlesque, I have Bam Bam Cliche, which I dragged her out of self-imposed retirement. And so I asked, and there was no question, didn't even blink an eye. And Bam Bam is also my personal trainer.
Yes.
So for my 64th birthday, she made me do 64 box jumps and 64 push-ups.
The very first burlesque show I was ever part of, Bam Bam was in the audience.
Right.
Someone she was dating at that time, I think, was involved in the show. And whatever else.
But Jovan, probably.
Yes. So she and I really hit it off.
Yeah.
But no, she's a lot of fun.
Chantel's is great, or Bam Bam is great. And then we have Lucky Minx coming in from Toronto. Lucky Minx is burlesque performer, very classic, very elegant, very stylish. I had the opportunity of doing a workshop with her a while back.
Yeah, okay, so I've seen her, I think, on your Facebook. Very, I want to say a very classic pinup look.
Yes, very much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I was lucky to get her. She was traveling. She was hoping to start a tour in Europe. And I guess the timing wasn't exactly it. So she reached out to me and said, "Is there still room?" And I said, "Lucky, I'll put you in. I'll find room for you. Not to worry."
You're good like that. The first performance we did at the Savoy, you had an artist. You had somebody in from Chicago.
Chicago, yes.
So I mean, this is world-renowned talent that is at these shows. This is not just like open mic night. And I'm not trying to disparage open mic night. We've all got to start somewhere. But these are performers that are on a world stage.
Right. And my feature performers, I'm trying to get artists that have international standing because, they have that. You need to have a draw
Sure.
And, you're not going to get to see them very often because they're busy, and unless you tour around and follow them on Facebook or Instagram or whatever.
And what was sorry, I forget the name of the woman who was from Chicago.
Aria Delanace.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. How could I forget that name? I had to practice that a dozen times to make sure I got it right. But afterwards, and she was so engaging with the audience. And
yes.
She's got playing cards that she sells. She's got, a variety of photos and stuff on.
That's a story because getting her was interesting. I had sent out a couple of requests to actually some local performers, and that didn't work out for a variety of reasons. And in my stupor, I just sent out this Facebook message to Aria, and I just said, I'm having the show, can you do it? And didn't hear back for a day or two, and that's not going to happen. Yeah. Then I got the message, sure, I can do it. At the time, I met her on an airplane, actually, on my way to Beehoff.
What are the chances two burlesque people would be on the same plane together?
On the way to Beehoff from a flight from Philadelphia to Las Vegas. And so I had her contact information, and she said, sure. And I was like, but you're in Montreal, right? And she goes, no, I moved to Chicago.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so, Orbitz found her flight from Chicago to Montreal for $143. Done,
Right on.
You got to do what you got to do.
So, and more of these shows to come, I'm assuming.
Yes, hopefully, yes, we're on a roll. We also have some belly dancing at this show.
Oh, wow.
We have Nikki Theo and Shade Nix, who are going to be doing Persian belly dancing.
Right on.
And Shade is also my kitten for the show.
Okay, now what's the kitten?
They collect all the clothes that the burlesque performers throw.
Okay, so how did
they gather all the clothing or the props, anything.
I'm fascinated that they're called a kitten because no cat that I've ever known will do any sort of work.
I think officially they're called a stage kitten.
Okay.
And they don't have to be, female, or they can be anything. But that's what the burlesque community calls the person on the stage that gathers all the props and the clothing that is thrown during the show. Yes.
Amazing. Yeah. No. And Shade has her own burlesque troupe as well. What is it? Shade Nix's Theatre Macabre?
She does. Yeah. House of Targ is where she has her show. In fact, we just did a show there.
I've known Shade for a good number of years.
Yes, and she does a fabulous job. We're so excited to have her involved in our program and our journey as well.
For sure.
And as well, it takes a village to do these shows. Yep. It's not just, it takes, like Caroline LaCours is our stage manager. You, of course, are doing our sound and light and music and all things in between. And our MC, of course, our illustrious MC. Without the MC, as the way I like to think about it,
I'm learning as I go. It's a community that has been together for some time, and they certainly know the inner workings and they know each other. And I'm very blessed to be invited to be part of it. And I'm learning as I go, and I'm enjoying the process. I mean, look,
yes.
If you're listening on the radio, this doesn't make sense. But if you're watching the video, I've even found I think
fabulous.
Is that the right jacket?
And we match. I mean, we're doing red, white, and black. I
didn't even know you'd be wearing like the red flower in your hair and the red lipstick, but I've got the red sequin jacket on, so I'm even coming out of my shell, Ottawa.
You have to wear that for the show.
I will wear this for the show.
That'll be fantastic.
And by the way, just so you know, I'm doing my first ever drag performance coming up April 27th. I am doing this. We do these drag bingos.
Where?
Bingo Land South.
Oh, my goodness.
Miss Imagine That, who's become one of my dearest friends, she performs with her friend Miss Divalicious.
Oh.
Miss Divalicious is having her birthday. And
oh, my gosh.
The little brat that she is, in the commercial that's airing on BTR for this event, she said that there will be an appearance by the Milkman herself, the Dairy Queen.
Oh, my God. I love it.
Diva, I don't know if Diva is completely aware that I'm doing this. I think she's on that I'm doing something. But there is an entire black and white, of course, costume that is being put together. I ordered a lovely dress for myself the other day. It came from China. It was supposed to fit somebody with my tummy size. It doesn't.
Oh.
My wife's very tiny. It doesn't even fit her.
Oh, no.
So we're working on that, but that's the workaround. But hey, I'm learning to walk in heels in the whole 9 yards.
Oh, that
so
is great.
Maybe, just maybe, one of your upcoming shows, the Dairy Queen may make another appearance. I'm not promising anything.
Oh, that would be so great. Epic, in fact. No, it's going to be fun, and I'm also going to be performing at the show.
Of course you are.
And, the kind of, I guess sort of maybe because I'm 64, I want to empower women of mature years. I mean, I'm not a spring chicken anymore, but to be sexy at any age. Yeah. I have a burlesque sister who lives in Los Angeles, and we're the same age.
Okay.
And we're both only children. I mean, if you just look at our, everything, we're like separated at birth, literally.
Amazing.
It was hysterical. But she also does a show in, I guess it's in Newport, California,
okay.
Whisper Sisters, and again, her mantra is sexy at any age, and I think that's what Ottawa is missing. It's missing sexy.
Yeah,
and it's just not in terms of.
But I get the sense. I get the sense that people in Ottawa want it.
They do want it, but you have to empower them. I remember I didn't ever want to wear red lipstick because for me, oh my God, red lipstick! Your lips walk into a room before you do. I couldn't navigate that. But when you turn a certain age, you literally become invisible.
Yep.
And I think that's what I would like to say. No, you should not be invisible.
Yeah, no.
I don't care
if you're listening and you don't have the benefit of the video, Luna Robin is not someone who you're going to ignore when she walks into a room. You pop in all the right ways. But thanks. No, and I love your whole raison d'etre when it comes to that. And I've always maintained, sexy is an attitude. It's all attitude. And
it's healthy. I mean, it's about, feeling good about yourself. It's about being able to walk into a room and to be able to talk to people and not feel shy all the time. I mean, look, people have different levels of comfort. We all know that, but I think a lot of it is self-imposed jail, but if you think about it, self-confidence is universal.
Yep.
That's something you develop over time. It doesn't happen overnight. But I think if you give yourself permission, yes, it's okay to wear a little bit of lower cut, dresses. It's okay to show a little skin. It's okay to be able.
I'm going to wear a lower cut.
Exactly.
I'm glad you think that's okay.
It's okay. Totally okay.
I'm not sure how I feel about it, but okay.
But Ottawa, I think really for a lot of what's going on here, I think it's still very repressed. It's a very repressed community.
The first time Sexapalooza rolls into town at the old Lansdowne Park, you had a lineup around the entire building.
Yes.
30,000 people went through the doors for that thing. Ottawa's crying out for this. I mean, there's a huge swingers community in this town. There is a huge BDSM community in this town. But everywhere you go, people are like, "Ooh, I'm afraid to show up because I might be recognized." But you might be recognized in any town, in anything. Look, we're born to be sexual creatures. We're born to find things sexually titillating and appealing and fun. And I mean, burlesque. We call it a burlesque show, but you're very quick to always put me back in the line and say it's not just burlesque, John. It's cabaret as well. It's just a fun night out that's going to run the gamut. It's the kind of show that if you decided you want a little sexy in your relationship and you were to fly yourself to Las Vegas,
you're gonna get it here.
This is the kind of show that you would probably stumble upon in your hotel, and you'd be raving about.
Right, and the bottom line is people do have fun. At Merrickville, for example, they were people who waited outside for the artists to come out so that they can just chat with them.
They were dancing. In
the night. I mean, it was insane. It was so much fun. And it was interesting. The first Savoy show, it was very hard to navigate because of the way the tables were set up. I think it's going to change this time.
Yeah, I'm bringing a slightly smaller but good sounding piece.
I'm not worried about.
No, just trying to accommodate.
Right.
So it's not as overwhelming for people.
But I was trying to walk through and say hi to people, and they were just looking over my head. Well, I'm 4'10". It's not hard for that to happen. But, but to try to engage with them, to say hello, to, welcome to the show. I hope you have a good time. Yep. We're here to talk to, we're here to interact, engage you. We're not, stuffy performance artists who are just, going to be not involved. And it was really impossible. I tried 5 times or 6 times to do it, and I just went, okay, the hell with it. You can only do so much.
Dancing on the tables.
Well, we'll see what happens next time. Okay. But if I got to do what I got to do.
They do make a good Manhattan at the Savoy.
Oh, yum!
If that encourages you at all,
it's was my grandmother's favorite drink. Manhattan, yeah.
Can't go wrong.
Yeah, that and a brandy Alexander were 2 of the drinks that my grandparents.
I've had one of those, but I can tell you they do a good Manhattan.
Oh, I'll have to try that.
May 2nd at the Savoy, Richmond and Churchill. There are still tickets left. Eventbrite.ca, and just search for the Savoy.
And remember, it is a dinner theater.
Yes.
So it's all inclusive. Your ticket includes your meal. Doesn't include your drinks, your beverages. Right. But I believe it's a 3-course dinner. You have
the food's fantastic.
The food, like I said, they have a brand new chef. They're really upping their game.
Okay.
This is a real elegant evening. It's a fun evening. It really captures everything that you can possibly want in a small venue. And the bathrooms are at grade. You don't have to walk down 3 flights of stairs to go to the bathroom.
It is.
Sorry.
It's I'm laughing, but it's an important thing.
I'm sorry, but us girls, yeah, and it's beautiful. So
if you need any further encouragement to come to the Savoy, that's where I chose to go for my 50th birthday dinner.
Oh, yay!
After you introduced me to it for the Burlesque show.
Oh, see that,
That's how wonderful their Manhattans and their food are.
Yeah, and they're very nice.
They are.
And Jack, the owner, has been an incredible support for this.
Good. Well, it's fun to find venues that are willing to do different fun
and
things.
It was interesting. It's a place I scoped out several years ago. And I just didn't, I wasn't quite ready to produce a show at that time. I still needed more shows of mine under my belt.
But it's a very visually impactful spot too, right?
And high ceilings.
It's modeled after a French bistro.
Yes.
It's very classic in its look.
Yes, and actually, what was interesting, I thought the floor, because it's all tile, would be an issue, and it absolutely was not an issue for any of the performers. There was absolutely no problem at all. It's always nice to have a little bit of a stage lift of some kind or a riser. But honestly, I think it's almost better without it because, we don't have to worry about stairs and steps and things to be moving around. But it turns into this nightclub.
Yeah.
With like I said, all the sparkly lights.
Like I said, it's the kind of thing that if you were in Las Vegas and you just happen to wander downstairs for dinner and you're walking by, and of course, if you've ever been to Vegas, they've all got everywhere, you get your slot machines and your poker tables and all that, but on the outside perimeter, typically you've got a variety of restaurants.
Yes.
And I think right away of Harrah's, which is my favorite go-to place in Vegas. Oh. And they've got, a dueling pianos thing going on there. And, I've seen Howie Mandel. I've seen Jon Stewart perform. I've seen Mamma Mia live. All these shows. The one that stands out to me was I was walking through the lobby of Harrah's, and these dueling pianos were going at it. And I stood there for the better part of an hour and a half, almost 2 hours, mesmerized by the show. And that's exactly when you describe the Burlesque and Cabaret show that you're putting on at the Savoy, May 2nd. That's exactly sort of the feel that I get to it. Is I just, you would stumble upon this thing and just fall in love with it.
Right. So. And it's a great area of town. It's in Westboro. It's, very walkable. There's street parking.
And as the weather gets better, why wouldn't you want to be in Westboro? You can make such a great night.
Yes,
out of it
and May is going to be. It's hopefully spring will have arrived. I'm crossing my fingers. Touch wood.
Yeah.
But it's just a fun evening, and I am so looking forward to it. I'm bringing my LED ISIS wings to the show, so it's going to be a little
have LED
sparkly.
ISIS wings?
Yeah,
I'm bringing my red sequin jacket.
Yes, you are. I'm so glad you got that. That is perfect.
Good.
It's epic. Love it.
Good.
Love it. Love it.
Good,
love
good,
it.
Good.
Yeah.
Look at me, Ottawa, stepping out.
Yeah.
Thanks to the encouragement of this amazing woman, Luna LuBare. Robin, thank you so much for being with us here on blasttheradio.com.
Thank you, John.
May 2nd at the Savoy. Get your tickets now, eventbrite.ca.